Hello and welcome to the first episode of Cyclone Insiders this year. I'm joined at the desk here with Ben Olson and Spencer Succo, and we're going to dive straight into it. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
Well, let's start off with the football team this week. They went to Akron and won 41-14. A little close at halftime, but 21 unanswered points in the second half gave the Cyclones a cushion. Great games from Park, great game from Montgomery. Lazard grabbed a touchdown, and hey, landing at his first career sack and interception. So, guys, tell me, who are the big performers this weekend?
For me, I'm going to go with, you just named him, Joel Lanning. If you look at his stat line, it's good to see that he's finally coming along. We've been third game of the year, and, so far, our defense has been holding up pretty well, and I'm not sure that that's been to Lanning, but I think we're finally starting to see him get his technique down and what it takes to be a linebacker, and he's starting to figure that out. So on his one sack that he had that great hesitation that allowed him to get to the quarterback, and then, of course, he had his interception, very spring game-esque. So I think that helped our defense as a whole to have a leader and to be able to shut down a team that we should be shutting down.
I agree with that, and the leadership qualities of Lanning have always been there. So it's nice to see that, he's starting to figure it out. He's starting to get comfortable on defense, and you can really tell that, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah.
What about you, Spencer?
For the individual player, I'm probably going to go with the obvious one here, and that's Jacob Park. Played really well, threw for over 300 yards, completed about 70% of his passes. He still has a little bit of an issue with throwing the ball high. I think that's just a mechanical issue. And you got to remember, he's only started, 8 games in his career?
Yeah.
This is his second season starting, but he still has less than a full season of games under his belt. And he's still having really the best start that an Iowa State quarterback has had in maybe their history outside of Seneca Wallace or Sage Rosenfels. And he played extremely well, made some great plays with his legs, made some great plays with his arm. You saw the arm talent that he has on that touchdown to Murdoch. You saw his athleticism on that touchdown run. I was really impressed with his poise. They mentioned during the broadcast how he had kind of a rough drive and then said, guys, don't worry, I got this. And then the very next drive throws a touchdown. So really impressed with his poise, with his leadership. I think he played a great game.
I agree with that. And, him rushing those 3 carries for 40-some odd yards and the touchdown, that shows his versatility. We've seen that a little bit last year. We're just now seeing it this game, so that's nice to see. Hopefully it adds on to that as the year goes on. Overall, as a team, what do you think the Cyclones did very well?
This was in this game, but also the first 3 games. I think Iowa State's rush defense has been very key to their success, and that was totally unexpected. You look at, they allowed 38 yards to, Akron just got this Ohio State transfer running back, Warren Ball. They totally shut him down and made Akron's running game non-existent, which really allowed for our defense to do more things and I think transitioned into sacks for them. So if our big man can continue to play it like they are, that's going to be crucial for us. But the other thing as a team is it's nice to see Iowa State finally dominating teams that they should be handling as a Big 12 school.
Yes.
I noticed Iowa State won the turnover battle, time of possession, and they had almost 200 more yards than Akron. So it's just great to see that out of a team, and I think that's progress.
When it was 2014 at halftime, you really kind of got the creeping feeling that here's another.
Yeah, here's Iowa State.
It's Toledo all over again from 2 years
Exactly.
ago. But it was nice to see them surge in the second half and really do what they should have done against the MAC team, even with area to improve as well. So that was really impressive for me to see. But overall, the unit I'm impressed with the most is the offensive line. They blocked extremely well. Still a little struggling a little bit up front in terms of run blocking. David Montgomery creates a lot of extra yards that maybe shouldn't be there. But the pass blocking has been excellent. 1 sack allowed through 3 games.
That's impressive.
Top 10, I believe.
Yeah, and then the only team to not allow a sack is Army. That's thrown 20 passes.
Yeah,
right.
So I've been really impressed with the pass blocking. Park's been clean. You really never see Jacob Park under pressure, and that makes his job a lot easier. If they keep Park clean and they continue to develop, because it's still a young line too. There's 3 underclassmen on that line. Jake Campos can even get a 6-year of eligibility if he so chooses.
Yeah.
And I think they can continue to develop, and eventually that run blocking will come.
Yeah, like you said, Park definitely has the weapons at receiver. So if he continues to get time, that should make for a good recipe for the Cyclone offense. Because we have a bye week this week, then we take Texas on next Thursday. I'm just going to hit it for a second. We're not going to get too much into it because we'll kind of cover that next Tuesday. But the Longhorns are coming off an overtime loss to number 5 USC.
Yeah.
Very good game, overtime game. I don't know if you guys watched it. It's a
I
great
did.
game.
I
Texas
did.
has a very good defense. Their quarterback there towards the end was really starting to catch fire as well. So what do the Cyclones, in your opinion, have to do well to win that game? I'm going to start with you, Spencer.
They're really going to have to clean up the mental mistakes for the most part, I think. The drop passes, the breakdowns in coverage that they had against Akron. It's a lot of their problems don't stem from talent. They stem from more or less just being a young team and making those mental mistakes. You saw versus Iowa that the mental mistakes really allowed them to get back in the game and ultimately cost them the game. I think just getting off the field on 3rd and long, they really struggled against Akron. 11 to 18 on 3rd down is what Akron was. But yeah, just cleaning up those mental mistakes and the things that kind of gradually come along with experience, I think will be key if they want to beat Texas.
I agree. Ben?
Yeah, I think Spencer hit the nail on the head. I think it's going to come down to any game, like when Iowa State plays a solid school, is that they're going to have to limit their penalties and their turnovers. And one key thing I noticed from watching the USC-Texas game was Texas still doesn't have their quarterback situation figured out. So if we can figure out how to get pressure on Texas's quarterback Ellinger, like we did against Akron, that'll be key to, limiting Texas to scoring. Because we've seen our offense score, but if they can do it against a Big 12 school, that's going to be very important. And that's what needs to change from the Paul Rhodes era, is if we can continue to put up these 400-yard offense games and score more than 30 points. So if we can have strong offense and get pressure on Texas's quarterback, I think we got a pretty good chance.
It feels cool to have like a legitimate Big 12 offense now. Or
It
offense
does,
that can
yeah.
win
Agreed.
in a shootout.
Averaging 41 points a game so far in the 3 games. This offense is fun to watch.
And I don't know if you saw the quote after the game. They were not.
They were
happy at all.
disappointed, yeah.
They were disappointed with how it performed against Akron. This is a team that expects to compete with the big boys now, and I think that's a good mentality that Matt Campbell has installed. I think Paul Rhodes said it in the past, like Iowa State should not be competing with Texas. This is a team that now expects to compete with Texas.
Exactly.
That's really what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a really good game.
Yep.
I agree. Everybody's excited about this Cyclone football team right now. A lot of people on campus are starting to think maybe a bowl game this year. And before the season, a lot of people might not have been thinking that. What do you guys predict? Do you think they'll make a bowl game?
I'm thinking 6-6. I'm thinking they just get there. Late season win over Baylor pushes them over the edge.
Okay, I like that, Ben.
Last Cyclone Insiders of the year, last semester, I said Iowa State was going 6-6 into a bowl game. I'm calling Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. Buzz around the Iowa State football team hasn't been this high in a while, and it's Iowa State, so naturally we like to get our hopes up.
I like that. We'll have to bring up that old video.
Yeah.
I think 6-6 is in the cards as well. I could see us even going 7-5 possibly. That all depending on winning home games, maybe getting an upset here and there. The
Consistency.
Big 12 is down this year. Baylor's 0-3.
Beating the
Kansas.
teams they should beat is going to be the big thing. They got to beat Texas, or not. They got to beat Kansas.
Got to beat
Texas Tech
Baylor.
is very winnable. Baylor is very winnable. And then, yeah, like you said, just sneak an upset in there. Maybe an upset that's not even really an upset.
Yeah, maybe it won't even be an upset by that point.
Would anyone really be surprised if they beat Texas? Maybe outside. Would anyone outside of Ames really be surprised
I don't think
if they
so.
beat Texas?
The Cyclones beat them 24-0 2 years ago.
It's true. I
So-
don't think it'll be 24-0 again, but
I don't think it'll be quite that either.
but then as well, they've also competed with Kansas State in the past. Only lost by 5 last year. Blew like a 21-point lead or whatever it was the year before. They've given Oklahoma State a lot of trouble. Had
Had them beat last year. Had them and Baylor beat last year.
2 straight
Yeah.
years of blown 17-point leads against Oklahoma State. I totally expect Oklahoma State to win that game, but still, it's encouraging to see that they can compete with those teams. Now it's all going to be about finishing against those teams.
I agree. Last thing I'm going to ask you guys real quick. Matt Campbell's brought so much excitement here to Iowa State. What grade would you guys give him as of right now in his second year as a head coach? Let's start with you, Ben.
For me, I'm gonna, in his second year, after the first year was a little rough, but so far what I've seen this second year, I'm gonna give him a B+. I really like, his leadership. It's clear that Matt Campbell has strong leadership, but I think we're finally starting to see the supporting staff that he put together around him when he got here. I know the offensive line coach, or actually the offensive coordinator, Tom Manning, and the offensive line coach are just like, they're blowing me away this year with the improvement that I've seen from the first year to this year. And I'm going to credit Campbell with that, with trusting those guys, and credit them, of course, with not giving up on our players. So I think if they can continue to do their job and Campbell can continue to inspire this team, then I like the way we're going.
I think B+ is a good grade. Maybe A- for this season. I think I'm going to go with A- for this season, B for the year before, B+ overall, around that area. Like you said, Tom Manning has done a great job.
Yeah.
Player development has been fantastic under Matt Campbell so far. We're seeing guys that are just completely coming out of nowhere and producing for this team. Guys like Trevor Ryan as a walk-on,
Yes.
or Hakeem Butler. The offensive line has played fantastic. Vernell Trent, Ray Lima.
Sean Foster.
Yeah, they've all done fantastic so far. Player development has been really good. The culture change that has really happened. There's still kind of a fatalist culture among the fans, but I think the players expect to win every game now. They expect to be in every game.
Yep.
Instead of just, oh, it's Texas, oh, it's TCU.
Right.
Let's just hope we don't get blown out by too much. Like, they expect to win now, and I think that the culture change has been awesome for this team.
I agree with both you guys. I think that's going to take us into the break. Coming up next is Cyclone Volleyball. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Cyclone Insiders.
Okay, so we drowned the fire,
Yep.
stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
Making it green starts from the ground up, so make sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Test your home for the presence of radon. Go to EPA.gov.
Welcome back to Cyclone Insiders. Ben's still here. Brian joined me at the desk, and we're going to dive into some Cyclone volleyball here. Iowa State Cyclones are currently ranked 18th in the country, 9-1, and their only loss came to Northern Iowa, who's ranked 22nd in the country. They just came off a great tournament win this last weekend. Really impressed in the Shocker Invitational. They beat then number 8 Creighton, and now they beat the currently number 24 ranked Wichita State Shockers. What all went well? Who impressed you guys individually? Let's start with you, Brian.
I'm going to go with Avery Rhodes, purely based on the Creighton game. She had, a huge block to win the first set, and then she basically won the fifth set for the team with 3 kills, blowing the lead open. First start in her college career.
Wow, huh?
First start she's ever made.
Against Creighton, yeah.
Against
an
that
Elite
number
8 team.
18, yeah. And so, yeah, I got to go with her. She's had a huge impact in just the short amount of time she's been here.
Ben?
I was looking at the season so far as a whole who's been impressive is for the team, and I'm going to go with Samara West. She's third leading scorer on the team, and I was looking at her stats last year compared to this year, and she already has more than half the kills she had last year. So I think she's starting to give Iowa State more of a consistent net presence, which is turning into more wins for this team and is going to be big, carrying them into the rest of the regular season.
I agree with you two. Those two players have been great so far for the Cyclones. The player I'm going to go with, the obvious answer is Jess Shaban.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with her here. I'm going to go with Grace Lazard, who's second on the team in kills and is also first in points. She's had a great season thus far and has been a great counterpart for Jess Shaban. So that kind of brings us into the Big 12 outlook. Now the Big 12 season's starting to start up. Texas is ranked 6th in the country. Kansas is ranked 12th. Baylor's receiving votes. Texas Tech, West Virginia, both 11-2. Where do you see the Cyclone team finishing in the Big 12?
For me, I think it's going to come down to leadership, to see how Grace Lazard and Jess Shaban have kind of developed over the last year. If we can get more consistent play, like I mentioned before, I can see Iowa State coming into a 4th or maybe even 3rd place finish, because I think they look strong to begin the year. But, I don't want to see Iowa State to have that midseason slump and drop to 5th or 6th. So I'm hoping for a 4th or 3rd.
Yeah, I'm feeling about the same thing. I think with West Virginia, they're 11-2 and on a 9-game winning streak. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be a big fight between Iowa State and West Virginia. They play late in the season, so I think those two are going to fight over the 3rd spot.
I agree with you guys. This conference is stacked with talent towards the top in volleyball. They're going to open up their Big 12 against Oklahoma next Saturday, who's 3-9, one of the bottom dwellers for sure in the Big 12. So hopefully they get a get a hot start going there. But I know it's early, but let's talk a little bit postseason. Could this volleyball team make the Sweet 16 or better? I mean, they just beat a Creighton team that made the Elite Eight last year.
Yeah. You just mentioned it. You were talking about hot starts. And I think that's going to be crucial for Iowa State when it comes to the postseason with this volleyball squad. The UNI game, they came out flat, and it cost them later, and they lost that match. So if they can find that consistency, and Jess Shaven, Grace Lazard, Samara West, Avery Rhodes can continue to dominate the net, then I think Iowa State, Sweet 16 for sure, but I could see them going farther.
Yeah, for sure. I think they've got to keep it up, and they've got to keep this momentum rolling because they've got it now.
Yeah.
But if they keep it going, there's not a lot of, if a number 8 team can't stop them, not a lot of teams can. So.
Like you said, if they can keep it going, the seeding that they get in the tournament will be crucial.
For sure, for sure. Lastly, to kind of close up volleyball here, pretty cool deal. Jess Shaben was named the ESPN Women's Player of the Week. Outside hitter combined for 29 kills, 26 digs, 6 blocks in the 2 matches this weekend. Very impressive to put up those numbers against 2 ranked teams. Like we just said, one of them a top 10 ranked team.
No doubt.
But that's all we got here for volleyball. Stick around. We're going to finish up with women's soccer after the break. You're watching Cyclone Insiders.
Here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Cyclone Insiders. I'm here with Brian at the desk, and we're going to go ahead and dive into some women's soccer. Well, head coach Tony Manata is in his 5th season as head coach, and last year they took a big step forward. The Cyclones have always really struggled in soccer, but they finished 48th in the final RPI rankings last year, finished 10-8-1, and they climbed 150 spots from their number 198th ranked RPI from 2015, the second biggest improvement among all top 50 teams. So an awesome year a year ago. This year hasn't quite lived up to the same. They're 2-6-1 so far this year. They did just compete with a 6th ranked Florida Gators team, went to overtime here in Ames, couldn't quite finish in it. Overall, what's going on with this team?
I think, well, first off, injuries. Injuries have plagued this team all year. They're on their 4th player missing significant time, potentially the entire season.
Wow.
Which could hurt, especially because they're about to go into Big 12 play.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and the Big 12 is going to be difficult. It always is. So last year, the name of the game was, defense. They only allowed 20 goals all of last year. This year, they've already allowed 15. So defense obviously needs to clean it up. A lot of that has to do with injuries, like you said, underclassmen having to step up and such. But what needs to give for this team to take the next step forward?
And this is what Manata, the coach, said too, is they need to finish games. They played number 12 USC, and the first half gave up two points and just weren't really there. Second half looked like they belonged in that game, looked like a top 20 team in the nation. So they need to play the entire game. They need to play all 90 minutes, or else it's just not gonna go right for them. Yeah,
especially with the injuries, and in a sport like soccer where goals are so tough to come by, it's important to be all together as one throughout the entire game. I guess individually, which players in your eyes need to step up and take the next step in leading this team?
I wouldn't even say it's even certain players. It's more just the underclassmen, like you said. They gotta, it's your time to shine when the injuries pop up. When you get the opportunity, you got to take it. And they have the opportunity now. With 4 people out, they need everyone they can get.
I agree 100%. And one freshman that has stepped up is Courtney Powell, who leads the team in shots and goals. So hopefully she can get her freshman friends and they can start racking some wins up here in the Big 12. But lastly, in other Cyclone sporting news, the Iowa State women's golf team won the 2017 East and West Match Play Tournament with a 4-1 victory over Wisconsin in the championship this afternoon. The victory is the first team title the Cyclones since winning the Dick McGuire Invitational in 2012. So
Too bad.
that's nice to hear.
Yeah,
It sounds like
absolutely.
Cyclones are rolling on all cylinders. But that's all we have for you for Cyclone Insiders. Tune in next Tuesday. I'm Zach Williamson.
And I'm Brian Birchka. Have a good night, Ames.